I can't go through with this wedding. The mate bond in my chest shattered like glass. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't do anything but feel the golden thread that had connected us for 3 years snap apart and start poisoning my blood. What? I choked out, my knees buckling. Ethan wouldn't look at me. My mate, the alpha I'd given up everything for, was standing 3 feet away, refusing to meet my eyes. I can't marry you, Lennox, he said. I'm in love with someone else. The world tilted sideways and I hit the altar steps hard, my bouquet scattering across the marble. Pain exploded through my chest, actual physical agony as the bond started dying, started rotting inside me. No, I gasped, clutching at my heart. No, Ethan, we're mates, you can't, the bond. I know what we are, he said coldly, but I don't want it anymore. I screamed. It ripped out of my throat, raw and broken, the sound of an omega losing everything. My mother was shrieking somewhere behind me. People were shouting, but all I could feel was the mate bond unraveling, killing me from the inside out. 3 years ago, the bond had snapped into place the second Ethan walked into my college class, that perfect golden certainty that he was mine and I was his forever. I dropped out of my PhD program the same week, moved across the country when he got his job offer, gave up my dream of becoming a professor because he said he needed me close. I'd learned to cook even though I hated it, woke up at 5 every morning to make his coffee perfect, smiled through dinner parties with his colleagues who treated me like a pet. I'd made myself smaller, quieter, more convenient, because that's what you do for your mate, you sacrifice everything. And he was throwing it away. Please, I sobbed, tears streaming down my face. Ethan, please, the bond will kill me, you know it will, mates can't just. Most omegas survive bond breaking, he said, and his voice was so casual, like my death was just a minor inconvenience. Most, I shrieked. I gave you everything. I destroyed my entire life for you, and you're willing to gamble on most? Who is it? I demanded through my tears. Who could possibly be worth breaking a mate bond for? Ethan gestured toward the family section. Rebecca stood up. My cousin Rebecca, the beta who'd helped me pick my wedding suit, who'd held me when I cried about leaving school, who told me last week that my vows were beautiful while she was fucking my mate behind my back. Something inside me died right there. Something that had nothing to do with the bond. How long? My voice came out dead, flat. 6 months, Ethan said. 6 months while I'd planned our wedding, while I defended him to my friends who said he'd changed, while I blamed myself for him not wanting to touch me anymore. 6 months while I tried harder, been sweeter, more perfect, desperate to feel our bond glow the way it used to. The bond was poisoning me now. I could feel it spreading through my veins like acid. My vision was starting to blur, my omega instinct screaming that I needed my alpha, needed him to fix this before it killed me. But he was the one killing me. I gave up my PhD, I whispered, staring at him. I was 3 years into my doctorate. I was going to be Dr. Lennox Reeves, and I gave it all up because you said our bond was more important than any degree. My father lunged forward, grabbing Ethan by the throat. You bonded with my son. You claimed him. You can't just walk away. Ethan shoved him back. I'll break the bond completely if I have to. I won't stay with someone I don't love. Not for anything. The chapel exploded into chaos, but I couldn't hear it over the roaring in my ears. Complete bond severance had a 30% survival rate for omegas, everyone knew that, and he was willing to risk it just to be free of me. I yanked off my engagement ring and threw it at his face. Then break it. I'd rather die than be bonded to someone who sees me as disposable. That's when the chapel doors burst open. A man walked in, silver white hair, black suit, and a presence so powerful every alpha in the room went rigid with instinctive fear. His scent hit me and the dying bond went silent. For the first time since Ethan had shattered it, the pain eased, replaced by something else entirely. This alpha's presence wrapped around my screaming omega like a blanket, soothing it in a way that should have been impossible. Forgive the interruption, the stranger said, his voice deep and commanding. But I couldn't help noticing this omega's mate bond is severed. Every person in the chapel held their breath. Who the hell are you? My father demanded. The stranger's eyes locked onto mine, silver gray and intense, and something clicked in my chest. Dorian Vale, and I'm here to claim this Omega before the broken bond kills him. You can't just claim someone, I said weakly, but I was swaying on my feet now, the bond sickness spreading faster. Dorian was beside me instantly, his hand steadying me, and his touch sent a shock through my system that eased the poison. I'm offering you a lifeline. The choice is yours. He's not available, Ethan said, stepping forward. I whirled on him with the last of my strength. You tried to kill me. You don't get a say anymore. I looked at Ethan one last time, at 3 years of my life wasted on someone who'd never valued me. Then I looked at Dorian, this stranger offering me salvation or destruction. I couldn't tell which. If I bond with you, I whispered, my voice breaking. Promise you won't break it when you get bored. Dorian's expression softened. I've waited 32 years to find an Omega worth bonding with. I don't make promises I can't keep. I will never break our bond. Okay. I breathed, and my legs gave out completely. Dorian caught me before I hit the ground, lifting me into his arms like I weighed nothing. The moment his skin touched mine, the bond sickness eased again, my Omega recognizing an alpha strong enough to save me. Mira appeared with my overnight bag, tears streaming down her face. I'm coming with you. Smart friend, Dorian approved. As we moved toward the exit, I felt the mate bond give one final, agonizing pull. I gasped and curled into Dorian's chest, and somewhere behind us Ethan made a small sound of pain. Good, I thought viciously. We passed rows of shocked guests with their phones out, my mother already on her phone probably calling her lawyer, my father calculating how to spin this disaster for the family business. The chapel doors closed behind us and I could finally breathe. Except I couldn't, because the bond sickness was getting worse now that we'd left Ethan completely. My body was shutting down, rejecting the loss, and darkness crept in at the edges of my vision. Stay with me, Dorian said urgently, his hand cupping my face. Lennox, stay awake. We need to get somewhere safe before we bond. It hurts, I managed. I know, but I've got you now. I won't let it take you. A black luxury car waited outside. Dorian slid into the back seat with me still in his arms, holding me like I was precious instead of broken. Mira climbed in beside us, grabbing my hand. You're going to survive this, and then we're burning all his stuff. I tried to laugh, but it came out as a sob. The car pulled away and I watched my old life disappear through tinted windows. Part of me screamed to go back, to beg Ethan to reconsider, to do anything to fix our bond. But the rest of me, the part Ethan had slowly crushed under 3 years of indifference, felt something that might have been relief. I'd spent 3 years making myself smaller for him. I'd given up my dreams, my education, my identity, all to be the perfect Omega mate. And he'd thrown it away for 6 months with my cousin. You're burning up, Mira said, her hand on my forehead. Dorian, he's burning up bad. It's the bond sickness. His body is trying to repair the connection to Ethan, Dorian explained, his voice tight. We need to establish a new bond soon or his Omega will shut down completely. How soon? Mira demanded. Hours, maybe less. I was shaking violently now, fever spiking as my Omega howled inside my head, confused and desperate for its mate, unable to understand why everything hurt so much. Make it stop, I begged. Please make it stop. I will, Dorian promised, his lips against my temple. As soon as we're somewhere private, I'll start the bonding process and the pain will stop. I swear it. I drifted in and out of consciousness, caught between memories and present. I remembered the day Ethan and I bonded, how perfect it had felt, how I'd thought I'd never be alone again. I've been so stupid. We're here, Dorian said, and suddenly we were moving, him carrying me through a lobby and into an elevator. I barely registered the penthouse, just saw floor-to-ceiling windows and expensive furniture before Dorian laid me on a massive bed. Mira, there's a guest room down the hall, he said gently. What happens next is private. You hurt him and I'll kill you, Mira said fiercely, but she kissed my forehead and left. Dorian knelt beside the bed, his hand brushing my sweat-soaked hair back. I need your permission, Lennox. I need you to tell me you want this bond. I looked at him through my tears and fever haze. This stranger who'd crashed my wedding and offered me salvation. I don't want to die. You won't, he promised. I'll take care of you. I'll never leave you. Never break our bond. I swear it on my life. Then do it, I whispered. Please, before I change my mind. Dorian's eyes flashed silver, his alpha fully present now, and he leaned down to press his lips to mine. The moment our mouths touched, I felt it. A new bond starting to form, golden and strong and nothing like the dying one in my chest. It wrapped around the broken pieces of my omega and started knitting them back together. That's it, Dorian murmured against my lips. Let me in. Let me replace what he destroyed. The new bond grew stronger with each breath, each touch, pushing out the poison from the old bond and filling me with warmth instead of pain. It should have felt wrong, bonding with someone I didn't know, but my omega was singing with relief, finally feeling safe again, finally having an alpha strong enough to protect it. Dorian pulled back, his eyes searching mine. Better. I nodded, surprised to find I actually could breathe again. Better. Good, he said softly. Now rest, we'll finish the bonding process when you wake up. I'll be right here. I wanted to argue, wanted to ask him 1,000 questions, wanted to know why he'd saved me. But exhaustion crashed over me like a wave, my body finally relaxing now that it had a new bond to anchor to. The last thing I felt before sleep took me was Dorian's hand in mine, warm and steady, and the new mate bond humming softly in my chest. Now I just had to figure out what came next. I woke up choking. My throat was on fire. My chest felt like someone had carved out my lungs with a rusty spoon, and the new bond wasn't helping at all. It was making it worse. Dorian, I gasped, trying to sit up. Something's wrong. The bond. It's not. He was across the room in seconds, his hand pressing against my chest, and his face was completely blank. Not concerned, not worried, just calculating. Your body is rejecting the new bond, he said clinically. It wants Ethan back. What? Panic clawed up my throat. But you said this would save me. I said it would stop you from dying immediately, Dorian corrected, pulling his hand away. I never said it would be easy. Your omega bonded with Ethan for 3 years. You think a few hours with me erases that? The new bond twisted in my chest, sharp and wrong, like a splinter embedded too deep. And underneath it, I could still feel the phantom of my bond with Ethan. That golden thread that was severed but not gone. Never gone. So what happens now? I whispered. Now you suffer, Dorian said simply, walking back to his chair. Your body will fight the new bond for weeks, maybe months. You'll feel like you're dying most days. But eventually, your omega will accept me or it will kill you trying to get back to Ethan. That's insane, I said, tears burning my eyes. Why would you bond with me if... Because I wanted to... He interrupted, his silver eyes cold. And because watching you crawl back to Ethan after everything he did would have been more pathetic than I could stomach. The words hit me like a slap. You're using me. Of course I am, Dorian said, leaning back in his chair. Did you think this was a love story, Lennox? I saw an opportunity and I took it. You were desperate and I was convenient. My chest constricted, the new bond burning hotter. Then why save me at all? Because you're useful, he said flatly. Your father's company has resources I want, technology patents that Vale Industries needs. Ethan was too stupid to see the value, but I'm not. Bonding with you gives me leverage. I felt sick, actually sick, bile rising in my throat. You're just like him. No, Dorian said, his voice dropping to something dangerous. I'm worse because at least Ethan pretended to love you. I won't insult you with lies. The door burst open and Mira rushed in, her face pale. Lenny, we need to leave now. What's wrong? I tried to stand but my legs gave out, the bond sickness making me weak. It's all over the news, Mira said, shoving her phone in my face. Ethan and Rebecca, they're holding a press conference. They're saying, oh God, Lenny, they're saying you forced Ethan to bond with you. My blood turned to ice. What? The video was already playing? Ethan and Rebecca standing together, her hand on his arm, both of them looking devastated. Lennox manipulated me into bonding, Ethan said, his voice breaking convincingly. He used omega pheromones and emotional manipulation. I felt trapped for 3 years. Rebecca helped me see the truth, helped me break free. He threatened to kill himself if I left, Ethan continued, tears streaming down his face. Said he'd make it look like I murdered him. I was terrified. The reporter's voice cut in. And the bond breaking, that was his choice? He broke it himself, Rebecca said, her voice soft and sympathetic. He wanted to make Ethan look like the villain, wanted everyone to feel sorry for him while he trapped another alpha, that Dorian Vale. My hands were shaking so badly I dropped the phone. That's not true, none of that's true. Doesn't matter, Dorian said, standing up. The story's already out there, and it's a lot more believable than the truth. What? I stared at him. You're not going to defend me? Why would I? He asked, tilting his head. This works perfectly for me. Now everyone thinks you're a manipulative omega who traps alphas. No one will question why I keep you isolated, why I control every aspect of your life. The room spun, my vision blurring. You planned this, you and Ethan, you planned all of this. Don't be stupid, Dorian said. But there was something in his eyes, something that looked almost like guilt. Ethan's just covering his ass. This is a happy accident. Lenny, we need to go, Mira said urgently, grabbing my arm. My car is downstairs, we can disappear before. He's not going anywhere, Dorian said, and his alpha command hit the room like a physical force. Mira stumbled back, her beta nature unable to resist the order. I felt my omega submit automatically, my body betraying me even as my mind screamed to run. You can't keep me here, I said, but my voice was weak. I can do whatever I want, Dorian said, moving closer. You're bonded to me now, that makes you mine, and I don't let go of what's mine. My phone started ringing, my mother's name flashing on the screen. Dorian picked it up, answered it. Mrs. Reeves, your son is fine, he said smoothly. No, you can't speak to him, he's resting. Yes, I saw the news, very unfortunate. I'll be releasing my own statement shortly. He hung up, blocked the number. What statement? I demanded. That you're under my protection while recovering from the traumatic bond breaking, Dorian said. That you're too fragile to see anyone right now. That all communication goes through me. You're isolating me. I realized horror washing over me. You're making it so no one can reach me, so if I disappear, no one will question it, he finished. Exactly, you're learning. The new bond burned in my chest, angry and painful, and I knew with sickening certainty that I'd traded one cage for another, one that was infinitely worse. Why are you doing this? I whispered. Dorian crouched down in front of me, his silver eyes boring into mine. Because 2 years ago, I watched you serve dinner at your father's house, and I saw something in you, something broken and desperate and absolutely fascinating. His hand cupped my face, thumb brushing away a tear I hadn't realized I'd shed. I don't want to fix you, Lennox. I want to see how much more you can break. I want to watch you shatter completely and see what's left underneath. You're insane, I breathed. Probably, he agreed. But you're stuck with me now, so I suggest you get comfortable. Mira made a sound of protest, but Dorian's eyes flashed silver and she went quiet, her beta instincts forcing submission. Mira can stay, Dorian said generously. She can watch you deteriorate, watch you fight the bond that's slowly killing you. Watch you realize that your only way out is to submit completely or die trying to escape. There's always a third option, I said through gritted teeth. What's that? Dorian asked, amused. Ethan comes back for me, I said, and even I heard the desperation in my voice. He'll realize what he's done. He'll come back and fix this. Dorian laughed, actually laughed, cold and mocking. That's what you're holding on to? The alpha who publicly humiliated you, who broke your bond and risked your life, who's currently telling the world you're a manipulative monster. He's my mate, I insisted weakly. Was your mate, Dorian corrected. Now he's the man who destroyed you, and I'm the one who gets to play with the pieces. The bond twisted viciously in my chest, and I doubled over in pain. Dorian watched with clinical interest, not helping, not even pretending to care. "The pain will get worse before it gets better," he said conversationally. "Your Omega will keep trying to reconnect with Ethan, keep rejecting me, and every time it does, it will hurt more. Eventually, you'll break, you'll accept me just to make the pain stop." "I'll never accept you," I spat. "We'll see," Dorian said, standing up. "I've got a meeting, Mira. Make sure he doesn't do anything stupid like try to leave or call for help. If he does, you'll both regret it." He left, the door locking behind him with an audible click. Mira rushed to my side, her hands shaking. "Lenny, oh my God, what have we gotten into?" "I don't know," I whispered, clutching my chest as another wave of pain hit. "But I think Dorian and Ethan, I think they know each other." "What?" "The way he talks about him. It's too specific, too planned," I said, my mind racing through the pain. What if this was never a rescue? What if this was always a trap? Myra's face went white. "Then we need to get out of here." "We can't," I said, testing the bond. "If I leave, if I get too far from him, the bond will kill me faster. I'm trapped." My phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "I'm sorry. I never meant for this to happen. Please hold on. I'm going to fix this." Ethan, it was Ethan." "It's a trap," Mira said immediately. "Don't respond." But another message came through, and this one had a photo attached. Ethan and Dorian shaking hands at some business function, both smiling like old friends. The date stamp was 3 years ago, right around when Ethan and I had first bonded. "Oh God," I breathed. This was planned from the beginning. The photo wouldn't stop burning in my mind. Ethan and Dorian 3 years ago, smiling like they just closed the deal of the century. I was the deal. "We need to confront him," Mira said, pacing the room like a caged animal. "When he gets back, we demand answers." "He'll just lie," I said, my voice hollow. "Or worse, he'll tell the truth and enjoy watching me break." The bond in my chest writhed like a living thing, rejecting Dorian more violently with each passing hour. My skin felt too tight, my Omega screaming for Ethan even though my brain knew he'd destroyed me. The door opened and Dorian walked in, loosening his tie. "You found the photo." Not a question, a statement. "You were tracking my phone," I said. "Obviously," he replied, pouring himself a drink. "Did you really think I'd give you unsupervised communication?" Mira stepped between us. "What's your connection to Ethan?" "Business partners," Dorian said simply. "We've been running a program together for 5 years, identifying Omegas with valuable family connections, bonding them to controlled alphas, then extracting maximum profit before disposal." The words were so casual, so matter-of-fact, that for a moment I couldn't process them. "Disposal," I repeated numbly. "Bond breaking, public humiliation, complete social destruction." Dorian listed like he was reading a grocery list. "Then the Omega either dies from bond sickness or becomes so desperate they'll accept any alpha who offers protection, which is where I come in." "You're trafficking Omegas," Mira breathed, horrified. "We're optimizing resources," Dorian corrected. "Your father's company has patents worth billions. Lennox was the key to accessing them. Ethan bonded with him, isolated him, made him completely dependent. Then broke him publicly so I could claim him and his family's assets." I couldn't breathe, couldn't think past the roaring in my ears. The wedding, the rejection, all of it was scripted. "Down to Rebecca's tears," Dorian confirmed. "She's actually a very talented actress. We pay her well." "And the press conference?" I asked. "Calling me manipulative?" "Phase 2, Dorian said. "Destroy your credibility so when you inevitably try to expose us, no one believes you. You're the crazy Omega who traps alphas. Remember?" Myra's hand found mine, squeezing hard. "People will figure it out. You can't keep doing this." "We've done it 37 times, Dorian interrupted. 37 Omegas, 37 families destroyed, 37 fortunes acquired. And no one suspects a thing because who questions an alpha protecting a broken Omega? You're a monster, I whispered. I'm a businessman, he said, draining his glass. And you, Lennox, are my most profitable acquisition yet. Your father's patents alone are worth $3 billion, plus the real estate holdings, the offshore accounts. All of it transfers to me the moment you sign the bonding contract. I'll never sign anything, I said. Dorian smiled, cold and predatory. You will, because if you don't, I'll kill Mira. The world stopped. You're bluffing, Mira said. But her voice shook. I never bluff, Dorian said, pulling a gun from his jacket and pointing it casually at her head. Sign the papers, Lennox, or I paint the walls with your best friend's brain. Don't do it, Mira said immediately. Lenny, don't you dare. Shut up. I snapped, my mind racing. The bond was burning in my chest, my omega weakening by the second, and Dorian had a gun to my best friend's head. I was trapped, completely and utterly trapped. Unless, I'll sign, I said slowly. But I want something in return. Dorian raised an eyebrow. You're not in a position to negotiate. You need me alive to maintain the bond long enough to transfer everything, I said, forcing my voice steady. If I die now, you get nothing, the bond severs, the contracts are void. So yes, I am in a position to negotiate. A flicker of respect crossed his face. What do you want? Let Mira go, I said. She leaves. She's safe. She never speaks about this. And I'll sign whatever you want. Lenny, no Mira pretested. And, I continued, ignoring her. I want to see Ethan one last time. Dorian's eyes narrowed. Why? Because I need to hear him say it? I said, my voice breaking just enough to sound desperate. I need to hear my mate tell me this was all fake, that he never loved me. I need closure before I sign my life away. Dorian studied me for a long moment, then lowered the gun. Fine, you have 5 minutes with Ethan while I prepare the contracts. Mira leaves now. I'm not leaving you, Mira said fiercely. Yes, you are, I said, looking her in the eyes. Because if you die here, this was all for nothing, go please. She hesitated, then pulled me into a fierce hug, whispering in my ear. I'm calling the police the second I'm out. They won't believe you, I whispered back. I'm the manipulative Omega, remember? Just go, survive. Dorian grabbed her arm, dragged her to the door. You have 10 minutes to get out of the building. After that, my security will hunt you down. Mira looked back one last time, tears streaming down her face, then ran. The door closed and it was just us. Smart, Dorian said. Sacrificing your friend to buy time, very Omega of you. When does Ethan get here? I asked. He's already here, Dorian said, and gestured to a door I hadn't noticed. He's been listening the whole time. The door opened and Ethan walked in, and seeing him made my broken bond scream with recognition and agony. Lennox, he said, and his voice was wrong, guilty and pained and nothing like the cold indifference from the wedding. Was any of it real? I asked. Any moment, any touch, any word? Ethan's jaw clenched. The bond was real, I didn't fake that. But everything else? Everything else was the job, he said quietly. I'm sorry. Sorry? I repeated, laughing bitterly. You destroyed my entire life and you're sorry. I didn't want to, Ethan said, taking a step closer. I fought Dorian on this for months, tried to find another way, but money was more important, I finished. But he threatened to kill you if I didn't cooperate, Ethan said, his voice breaking. He said if I didn't break the bond publicly, he'd make it look like an accident, a car crash, something quick. I chose the bond breaking because at least you'd survive. I looked at Dorian, who shrugged. He's not lying. I absolutely would have killed you. Still might if this takes too long. So you do care, I said to Ethan. Just not enough to actually save me. I can't save you, Ethan said desperately. Dorian owns me, owns my family. If I step out of line, he destroys everyone I love. I'm trapped just like you. Then we're both dead, I said flatly. Not necessarily, came a voice from the doorway. We all turned. Rebecca walked in, but she wasn't crying or playing the devastated other woman. She was holding a gun pointed directly at Dorian's head. "Surprise," she said coldly.
I'm FBI.
Everything happened at once. Dorian lunged for his weapon, but Rebecca fired, the bullet catching him in the shoulder and spinning him around. Ethan tackled him from behind, slamming him to the ground. "Lennox, the contract," Rebecca shouted. "Where is it?" I pointed to Dorian's briefcase with shaking hands. She grabbed it, pulled out papers and a recording device. "We've got everything," she said into a comm unit in her ear. "Audio confession, physical evidence. Send in the team." The penthouse exploded with federal agents, flooding through doors I didn't know existed, weapons drawn and voices shouting. I just stood there, my broken bond screaming, my new bond burning, watching my entire world flip upside down again. Rebecca approached me carefully. "Lennox Reeves. My real name is Agent Rebecca Chin. I've been undercover for 2 years building a case against Dorian Vale and his trafficking operation." 2 years, I repeated dumbly. "I'm sorry we couldn't tell you," she said. "Ethan's been cooperating for 6 months, wearing a wire, gathering evidence. The wedding was supposed to be the final sting, but Dorian moved too fast." I looked at Ethan, who was being checked by paramedics, his face pale and drawn. He really was trapped. "We all were," Rebecca said. "But it's over now. Dorian's going to prison for the rest of his life." "And the bond?" I asked, my voice cracking. "The new bond that's killing me?" "There's a specialist team standing by," she said gently. "They can sever it safely. It will hurt like hell, but you'll survive." "And then what?" I asked. "I go back to having no bond at all? I just exist in this permanent state of broken." Rebecca's expression softened. "Or Ethan can rebond with you if you want, if you can forgive him for what he had to do." I looked across the room at Ethan, who was staring at me with such desperate hope it physically hurt to see. "I don't know if I can," I admitted. "You don't have to decide now," Rebecca said. "You have time." Except I didn't have time. I could feel Dorian's bond poisoning me, feel my omega giving up, shutting down. Ethan must have seen it on my face because he pushed past the agents and dropped to his knees in front of me. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness," he said, his voice raw. "I know I destroyed you, broke you in ways that might never heal. But I never stopped loving you. Not for 1 second. Every terrible thing I did was to keep you alive." "You could have told me," I whispered. "I couldn't risk it," he said. "Dorian was watching everything. If he suspected you knew, he would have killed you immediately. I had to make it real." "It was real," I said, tears streaming down my face. "You broke our bond, that was real. And it's killing me too," Ethan said, pressing my hand to his chest where I could feel his heart racing. "I can feel the severed bond every second. Feel you dying and not be able to stop it. Please, let me fix this." I looked at this man who'd destroyed me to save me, who'd played the villain so I could survive. "If we rebond," I said slowly, "it's not going to be like before. I'm not going to be that Omega who gives up everything, who makes himself small." "Good," Ethan said fiercely. "I don't want that Omega. I want you, angry and brilliant and demanding everything you deserve." "I want to finish my PhD," I said. "I'll help you apply. I want my own life, my own career, my own identity. I'll support every bit of it. And if you ever make me feel less than again," I said, my voice hardening, "I will destroy you in ways that make Dorian look merciful." Ethan smiled, real and genuine. "I'd expect nothing less." I looked at Rebecca. "How do we do this?" "The specialist can sever Dorian's bond first, then Ethan can reinitiate the bonding process," she explained. "It's going to be excruciating, but you'll survive." "I'm used to pain," I said bitterly. They brought in the specialist, a calm Omega woman who explained the process in soothing tones I barely heard. All I knew was that when she pressed her hands to my chest and began severing Dorian's bond, I screamed loud enough to shatter glass. It felt like being ripped apart from the inside out, like every cell in my body was rejecting existence. But then it was gone. The poisonous bond dissolved, and I could breathe again. Ethan was there immediately, his hands framing my face. "Are you ready? Do it," I gasped. "Before I change my mind." He kissed me, and our old bond roared back to life, broken pieces knitting themselves together in a rush of golden warmth and familiar comfort. It wasn't perfect, wasn't completely healed, but it was ours. When he pulled back, we were both crying. "I'm so sorry," Ethan whispered against my forehead. "I'm so fucking sorry." "I know," I said, "and you're going to spend the rest of your life making it up to me." "Deal," he said, and kissed me again. Across the room, agents were dragging a bleeding Dorian Vale to his feet, reading him his rights. He caught my eye and smiled, cold and unrepentant. "You think you won," he called out, "but you'll never trust him again, never feel safe. I've already destroyed you." I looked at him, at the man who'd orchestrated my nightmare, and felt nothing but pity. "You didn't destroy me," I said clearly. "You just reminded me how strong I am, and that's going to be your biggest regret." They dragged him away and he was still laughing, the sound echoing down the hallway until it finally cut off. Rebecca approached us. "We'll need statements from both of you, and Lennox, you'll probably need therapy." "Probably," I agreed. "But I'll survive, I always do." Ethan's arm wrapped around my waist, his bond humming warm and steady in my chest. And for the first time in 3 years, I felt like I could breathe. It wasn't a happy ending, wasn't clean or perfect or resolved. But it was real and it was mine, and that was enough. The end.